Back home now, and Minister of Public Works Patricia de Lille will hand over a need for, well, the fleet of road maintenance equipment to the provincial government. De Lille will also give an update on how the department has performed since it has been placed under administration. Let's get the very latest now. Our reporter there, Felicia Pakedi, is covering the story for us. Felicia, very good morning to you. What's the latest?
Thank you very much, Blaine. We are in a Public Works workshop at the moment where the Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Patricia de Lille, is here. You remember that this department is also under Section 100, subsection 1B, where, of course, the national government takes over the administration of this department. The department was placed under administration last year in May. The Minister now visited this province today, and of course just to assess the progress made by her intervention team. You'd remember that there has been a lot going on in this department, including the department not being able to provide services and so forth, particularly looking at the situation of roads here in the province. The minister is here today and we will be speaking to her in a moment. We believe that she is now walking towards us, and we are told that there are 12 yellow fleet equipments that have been purchased that are multi-million yellow fleet equipment for the road construction. Now, the Northwest Province really is also known for the many gravel roads here in the province and that are in bad states. And you'd know that, of course, after recent rainfalls, there's been quite complaints about these roads. Now, we are told that this equipment will assist, and the minister is here now. I will just turn to her so that she can talk to us more about this. Minister, thank you very much for joining us. If you can just tell us the purpose of your visit here in Public Works Department.
Well, as part of the Department of Public Roads and Infrastructure, we started a project in November 2019, which the MEC calls War on Potholes. And we realized that there was not enough equipment to service all 4 districts and the main cities and towns. So before we used to lease and rent equipment, and we then decided to spend 28 million rand to buy extra equipment. So this is what we are handing over to the province today, so that they'll be able to continue with the war on pot roads, service the roads, and make sure that the community, the economic roads especially, is accessible.
Now, you mentioned that the department was previously hiring this plant equipment to work on the roads. Now, can we now say this Northwest is in bad condition in terms of roads, particularly gravel roads, because the department really was hiring instead of having more equipment to use, or maybe lack of resources?
Yes, there is also a backlog in most of the roads are still very rural. It's gravel roads, it's not tarred. And for that, we've got a separate plan to make sure that we tar more of the gravel roads. There are more than 14,000 kilometers that still need to be done. And with this equipment here, and also creating more jobs in repairing and maintaining our roads, it will certainly be a great boost for the economy of the Northwest.
That is the minister there explaining to us that this equipment will come in handy. Now, Minister, there are reports that about 3,700 people are doing business with the government, many of them not even declaring their companies. Have there been maybe people who've been brought to book?
Yes, we are working in partnership with the Special Investigating Unit. In fact, it is the SIU that gave us the information, because we were able to run the ID numbers of our staff against the database, the vendor database of National Treasury. And so with the SIU report now, we have sent out a very strong message to all our staff to stop doing business with the state, because in terms of the Public Service Act regulations, no public servant is allowed to do business with the state, or even to serve as a director on a company that's doing business with the state. So it's work in progress, but the message got out that this method of doing business with the state must stop.
So are you saying up to so far no one has been brought to book?
Well, by the end of January, mid-February, because it's so many names that we have to work through, then they are now in the process of establishing in which instances, in which tender, in which contract was any of the people in the department involved, and they did not declare. And then thereafter you have to follow due process, invoke the disciplinary code, the code of ethics, look at the violation of the Public Finance Management Act. And then because, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. And then we have to do that process and consult with the unions, and workers are able also to bring their own representation. Yeah.
Speaking of irregularities, Minister, how far is your investigation now looking at state funerals? As we have heard that now there's been irregularities in terms of state funerals, some of them talking about the funeral of Mama Winnie Madikizela Mandela. How far are your investigations regarding that?
Well, by the end of this week, in consultation with the Special Investigating Unit Tribunal, we will be referring the civil litigation to the tribunal. By the end of this week, in terms of the criminal litigation, we will be laying charges with the police. And then, of course, I've also written to the state attorney to ask the state attorney to appoint an outside service provider that can do and lead the disciplinary processes within the department. Yes.
Speaking of that, Minister, is it true that you have recommended to the presidency that state funerals be kept?
Yes, in consultation with the minister within the presidency, Minister Mthembu, we have discussed it, and we have agreed that we need to recommend to the president that we put a cap on state funerals, because the president has got the authority within the constitution to declare a funeral a state funeral or a special funeral. And that is also work in progress. We're hoping also by the end of February we would have finished the process, because I had to go back and look at the trend of how much we are spending on different funerals, so that we give the president a reasonable recommendation of what the state can spend, and further recommend to the president that it will be best that if the state want to make a contribution towards a funeral, that we consult with the family and then rather give the resources to the family to do the procurement for all the needs of the funeral. So those are all work in progress, and once we have finalized our recommendations, I will be then taking a report to Cabinet for Cabinet approval and the President.
Last question, Minister, if you can just be brief with us regarding this one. What is the state of EPWP at the moment?
EPWP, the findings of the 2018-19 financial year, the Auditor General picked up audit findings in their two provinces, did not use EPWP money for that purpose. And the two provinces are KZN and the Northwest. So we have launched an investigation together with the Independent Development Trust, IDT, and also with the NPO sector, because the weakness in the system is accounting and reporting on proper names and ID numbers of people that have worked on the EPWP program. And that evidence for the Auditor General was lacking in the two provinces. So now we've reviewed the system of reporting, especially from the NPO sector, the non-government sector, together with the premiers and the MECs of the provinces. We have to establish forums where we can pick up these irregularities before the AG picks it up. So we've got an audit finding against us in 2018-19 financial year about EPWP. EPWP is there to alleviate poverty. It's also there to help people to gain some skills so that they can become employable. It is a temporary measure, but we get 2.3 billion rand a year from Treasury every year to put into our country and into our communities to help people with poverty alleviation. So we are working on a new strategy to make EPWP more effective.
Thank you very much, Minister, for speaking to us. That was Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure, Patricia de Lille, here, of course, to unveil the equipment behind me that will assist the province with gravel roads. And, of course, she spoke more on the irregularities of government officials doing business with the government in general. And at the moment, back to you in studio.
All right, Felicia Pakedi, they're live from the Northwest. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate your reporting.
Thanks, Felicia.